Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my update number 432. Today is Saturday, April 20. I just wrote it down. 25th. Um, Hello, I'm back again after 2 weeks. As you all know, I was out of town last week. I ended up not really having the time or anything to film a video last like Friday. I was kind of hoping maybe I'd be able to do it on Friday, um, because we were leaving town on Saturday. But on Friday, I ended up, I was doing several last minute things, and then I spent the night at my sister's house in town in Tempe. Or wherever she lives now, Chandler, Tempe, so that we could leave from there, straight from there. So yeah, I was all discombobulated, so I didn't do an update last week, obviously. But that means I have lots of lovely stuff to share. Including uh, the numbers for May. The WIPGO numbers for May came out um, late last night, early this morning, whatever. So I have all that ahead of me, and um, a little update for our Etsy shop. We haven't done that in a while, just because we've been like in limbo and all those moving limbo and everything. But we do have a bit of an update. My sister made some little project bags for the what is it called? The semi. I wrote it down here. Semi quincentennial, 250 years, the anniversary. So these bags are, if you have like a paper chart, a paper PDF chart, you can put it in this bag. But it's really a good size for the half page size charts. The um, I have one right here. Like this size chart will fit very easily in here. You know, like I said, you could get an 8 by 10 size chart. You know, in here if you're willing to kind of you know squeeze it in there. But some people don't care. Some people do care a lot. Like I wouldn't recommend trying to put like a heart. This wouldn't fit in there, for instance. Yeah, you know. But otherwise, it's great. It's got a handle. This one has this fabric on it that says loyalty, liberty, honor, courage, respect, that sort of thing. And then it's got these little stars on the other side. And I think the inside is, yeah, it's pretty much the same, right? It's just like a kind of reverse of this. And the little zipper pull charms say USA on them. So there's that one. And the other one she made, hold on one second. The other one she made is this sort of old-fashioned looking fabric, and with the little strip here that says "Land of Liberty, Freedom, Bill of Rights, with liberty and justice for all." I guess born in the USA, all that stuff. So, and I just noticed this one's upside down on this side. But anyway, this one is also got a USA zipper pull, and then the fabric on the inside, and the flag fabric here. Yeah. So now there's two like this, and one like this, and there's another one with this pattern, but it has this fabric is upside down um, at some point. Yeah, I think when she put them back to back, she was trying to make sure they were right side up or whatever, but one of them came out backwards. And rather than like trying to redo it because she'd already like cut the zipper because she thought at first she could you know take it apart and put but she had already cut the zipper and all that. So that one she's selling at a reduced price. So if you don't care if the words are upside down, it's cheaper than the rest of these bags. So check it out. The link to our Etsy shop is in the uh, program notes in the description box below. So you can go and get these nice little USA themed bags. So that is our update for our Etsy shop. Put these out of the way here. So yeah. Um, so that's in the shop, and so now just I just want to just touch on the fact that that we were out of town for my cousin Judy's memorial, and that went very nicely. We had several family members that came to town for that. Um, we were staying at my aunt's apartment. Um, but mostly it was just cousins, and then my cousin Judy's like church friends, church family who went to the memorial. Really, I think there are only on my mom's side. I have two aunts and an uncle that are left on that side because they're of course they're older, in their 80s and all that. Um, So the only ones left now are the three on my mom's side, the three youngest on my mom's side. Well, second the youngest. One of my younger aunts passed away a long time ago. But there's just the three siblings on my mom's side, and all my other aunts and uncles have passed away. Um, and so, but I have a bazillion cousins on both sides of counting on both sides of the family. So there's a lot of cousins. But uh, so yeah, we're all getting older now. Um, my little sister and a couple of my younger cousins are on the younger end, but otherwise, yeah, we're all getting up there. I had ran into a friend of mine and who's his family lives there in Albuquerque, and we were both talking about that, feeling, especially for us, for he and I, at this age, uh, he'll be 66 in May, and I'll be 66 in October. But you don't feel old necessarily, 65 ish. You don't. Most people at that age are not that old. And he was talking about, I guess that his job, had a mandatory 65-year-old retirement age, but he still wants to do things. And so he's, still looking around to do things. Um, but, a lot of companies don't want to hire somebody who's older, who's 65, because their retirement age or whatever, they're not going to be around all that necessarily with the company all that long, like a 20 something 30 something year old might be with the company forever. And that a lot of companies just want to hire for the long term. They don't want to have to rehire and rehire every few years. So that's part of it. And then part of it is that you are older, and so you don't necessarily aren't going to be able to do the things that a younger person would be able to do, and that sort of thing. So yeah, so we're both, he's and I don't work because I'm disabled on disability. So but so he's kind of in that limbo of still wanting to do stuff, but yeah. Anyway, um but like a lot of my cousins, we're all getting up there. So yeah, one of my cousins is joking, yeah, we're all old and disabled and whatever, for to various degrees. Anyway, but it was a lovely time, and we got to see people we hadn't seen a long time, and um, my sister and I really like like ate at all these great restaurants there in Albuquerque that we um, uh, have we touch on more rarely and but sort of traditions of places we used to eat all the time and everything else when we lived there and visiting with my parents and other just hitting all these places. So it was fun in that sense. Um, and I meant to show. I bought some earrings in Old Town in Albuquerque. In some places, but mostly like in Old Town or in Santa Fe, you can go and buy jewelry from authentic Native American creators. There, they have they'll be out like at this one place in Old Town especially, and there's trading posts and things like that where you can get authentic Native American jewelry, as opposed to like there are some that are made by other people who don't have the Native American heritage. So there's rules around it or whatever, so that that you're buying from these people are not Native American and these people are. And so if you want like authentic Native American jewelry, you'd buy from those people as opposed to these people who may have wonderful jewelry, but they're just not anyway. That's a whole thing in New Mexico and in other places in the Southwest. But anyway, so there were some vendors out there in Old Town, and my sister wanted to buy something for her daughter, um, and so I was looking, and they had some cute little. I meant to bring them. I don't have them with me here, but they're just little earrings that have. I don't know if it's not ivory. What is it? It's like I don't know, shell. Little elephants. Really cute. But they're they're on kidney wires, and kidney wires are very thin, and I don't really wear earrings regularly, and so I was like, I wanted to wear them for my cousin's memorial, and it was like all I could do to get them in my ears because my ears, uh, ear piercings are wanting to close up, because I don't wear earrings regularly. And so I was like, ow, ow, ow. Just stabbing myself with the earring. And then after I wore them, for the memorial, and then I wore them to meet with my friend. And like after that, I took them out, and my ears were so sore and swollen. It's like, that was a high price to pay for that. But they were cute. And I got a lot of nice compliments on them because, anyway, that was fun. Overall, the trip was very nice. The drive was very nice. The weather was great. Um, yeah. So overall, it was very nice. Um, so we got back Wednesday, and one other little life update. I talked about last week about they were going to come and work on the bathroom here. So they did replace the drywall uh, in Eve's room and in the bathroom, and I think either they already painted completely or they might do a little bit more painting. I don't know, in her closet, but in the bathroom they replaced the drywall, put it in the vanity, and they painted. Except that they still had to do the take out the bathtub and change it, for the ADA shower. And so they went ahead and painted, before they did that. And so then while I was out of town, they came and demoed the tub and the tub surround, and because they had to like change where the drain is to put the shower in. So they demoed and everything. um, and so um, on Monday they're coming to put in the shower, um, and then I think they'll actually have to paint again because they had to do some drywall changes and other changes to put the shower in, and so they had to like kind of spackle or around there, so it kind of went into the area that had been painted, And so after they put all the stuff in, they'll have to repaint anyway. So we're gonna get the bathroom painted twice at least part of it. Um, but what was funny is that when they took out the tub and surround, um, they demoed that they had to do some work on the floor because they had to change the drain. But where they took out the tub surround, um, there's these little spots where the adhesive was, I guess, for that surround. And so we were joking about that. It's like a Rorschach test, or like looking up at the clouds and you see shapes in the clouds, because like this looks like a bird, or this looks like the moon, or this. So it's kind of a fun thing to like you're doing a Rorschach test with those. What do you see in this shape? But anyway, so hopefully by maybe by this time next week, um, we'll have a functioning, usable shower, and the bathroom will be done. Here's hoping. So anyway, so I did take some cross stitch with me. I took two pieces with me, and I worked on both of them, I think, while I was there. And the light, actually, the lighting that at my aunt's house was not bad at all. Um, at one point, I sat out in the living room with my sister, and we were talking and stitching and stuff. She was knitting, and I was stitching, and uh, in one place, I was able to use the existing light in there, and in my room that I was staying in, um, there was a lamp right by the bed, and so I was able to just lie in bed and stitch and stuff. So it worked out fine. So anyway. Um, So for my WIPGO calls for last month, now we'll now talk about cross stitching and not bathrooms and stuff. Um, so for April, because number 13 was one of the ones called, um, there are then three for the month of April. Um, so I already talked about the bald eagle. I finished, and then I'm trying to find the right ones. Yeah, the bald eagle I finished, and then Call of the Sea whale and Blizzard, one of the animal crackers, were my three whip goes. And then I haven't done my three new starts, and that is the baby elephant diamond painting kit. I talked about that last week. The Iris Night Garden set by Iris by the Blue Flower, and Under the Full Moon, the Stitch Crypt piece. So those three I talked about last week. And the one thing about that I wanted to touch on for the Stitch Crypt piece, the Under the Full Moon, I talked about using this large piece of this darker. It's a it's a dark version of charcoal gray and purple and all that. But I also have this smaller piece from when I talked about how I used it to do some uh, stitching with the housewives pieces. So this is the piece that's left from that large piece I had. But I think this side actually is big enough for that Under the Full Moon piece. So I'm going to iron it, measure it properly and all that, and see, because I think this piece actually might work better for that uh, Under the Full Moon piece, because there's a lighter section here, um, and I don't know, I could use it this way because of the black stitching that's in the design, so that might work better. So I want to go ahead and start that, but I didn't want to do any new starts like today while we were doing our update, our Three Sisters update. I didn't want to do any new starts stitching because it's difficult to you have to have whatever all to start with, and so I didn't want to do that. So uh, what I have like 5 or 6 more days. Do a little bit of this. This is Under the Full Moon by the Stitch Crypt. I did. Let me put this somewhere out of the way so I don't have a crap-a-lanch. Um, the blue flower iris piece from the. This is from what you call it. It's a night Stitch the Rainbow, uh, the Night Garden thread collection by Blue Flower. And I think I talked about this before. This it's a light green fabric from Bestitch Me, and then the threads, the Night Garden thread group. So that's my other new start. And then the baby elephant diamond painting kit. So all those three things I have to squeeze into the next week. Um, and like I said, the new starts just have to be started. They don't have a goal, so um, I just want to do a little bit of stitching on each one. And if I do like 2 days on each thing, that's that'll get me started, and but then I also want to. I took this with me. I mean, I hoped to take this, but I didn't. Ended up not taking it. This I was gonna stitch on my father's birthday, which was on Monday, which was the same day as the memorial. So I actually didn't stitch, I don't think, on Monday at all, because we were up early and doing stuff for the memorial, and then we had the service, and we went out to eat, um, and all kinds of things for that. And it was a really long day, and so I ended up. I think I might have stitched for a short time, very late at that night, but. So that was on the 20th, and that was my father's birthday, and so I had wanted to do this. This is For My Dear Father, by Little Robin Designs, and I have, I think I showed this a couple weeks ago. I just have this very little beginning of a start on it, so I want to do that still uh, for this before the month is over. I would like to do a stitch on that at least one day or something. So I have to squeeze all that in there. But so now I will talk about what I did do. My whips for WIPGO. Um, I did work on Calling of the Sea whale. This whale up here. It kind of doesn't show up very well in this picture, but it's white because it's white on white. But it's this whale is here. So this is the one I was running out of thread for and stuff. So, but I did order some. So that did come in. So I finished the flag here. This is the cattail color. You can see the stars there on the flag, and then the stripes here. So the flag is finished, and I did this little box. This little box that has a ship's wheel and an anchor. I finished that. The gray, you can see the gray waves here. That was already there. I did the gray part of the whale's head and stomach. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I almost missed this. I had to take a couple of rows out as I was doing this. I just was going up and and I was making it square, and I realized, oh yeah, it cuts back there and makes it the shorter lines there. I almost forgot. The eye was there. I had did that before, but I finished the mouth. So the whale is it, and I had done this tail. So the whale is done except for all the white, that cattail color. The only reason this line is here is because I started in the middle of this design, and I worked my way down and then did the outline of the whale. So I just need to stitch the body of the whale. That's all that needs to be done, but that's going to be next time. Next time this comes up on WIPGO. And then I did finish the blue fins on this little star design motif. So there's 5 total, as I said before. And then around the outside, I forgot, there's a border of gray, I want to say it's this color. It's a light gray, but it's one of these colors that's in the medallion down here. I don't know. It's either one of these two. I forget which one. but there's a border of that all the way around the design. So, so this is almost done, and next time it comes up on WIPGO, I'll be able to finish it, I believe. So there's that. So I did hit my goal on that, on Calling of the Sea whale. Um, and then my other WIPGO call was another Stacy Nash, and this was Blizzard, the little fox wearing a sweater and a scarf. And I'm still going to do this little. I think in this design it's maybe a needle book. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm going to do it as a just accessory or something for the fox. Um, but so I did do. This is the one where I had done part of the scarf, and I had, you know, just it'd been so long, and I'd done just briefly stitched on it last time it came up. It was a new start, and I it came up like this too. A month where they were like, I think I had. I don't know if it was during cross stitch camp or something, but I barely had time to squeeze it in there, so I just did real quickly did part of the scarf on the fox. So I had I had to go back and look at my old Flosstube from when I worked on it last to see how I had done it. But it's 2/2, which is what I was trying to find out. It's 2/2 with all Week Star Works colors. This is the middle, the top of the fox's head, and the outline of his ears. Part of his There's another color that goes in those ears, and this is his nose, and there's some more speckles that go lead up to this middle part. And I wanted to do the sweater, but um, I thought I had the thread in my project bag with the threads for this, and I did not. So I had to. They're in my. I found it in my in the craft room here, but because I had not pulled it last time I worked on this. Um, but anyway, so yeah, so I I went ahead and finished this like early this morning, so I could get his get that brown part of his head finished. There's more of this color on the tip of his tail, and yeah, and the rest of his body is like a lot of white and that sweater that he's wearing and stuff. So yeah, but that's the top of it. It's probably going to take up this whole thing. He's pretty tall. This is on. This is 32 count even weave, I think, as I recall. So yeah, so it's pretty good sized. These animal crackers, when you look at them, they don't look that big, but yeah, they turn out pretty big. Um, I think at 36 with 36 count fabric. Um, yeah, they use 36 count fabric, so the finished size is like, um, you know, 5.5 inches wide and 8.5 inches high. And so since this is 32 fabric, it's probably going to be a little bit bigger, and I hope it'll fit. Yeah, so well, it should. I think I, you know, measured this fabric correctly for that size. But yeah, that's pretty big. But anyway, so I did the WIPGO number of days on that, 7 days on that, plus a little bit extra probably. So I finished my May WIPGOs. I have those new starts to do yet. And then one other thing I did was yesterday, Eve went to Hobby Lobby for some stuff, and so of course I went with her. And one thing I did was I've been wanting to finish this. This is I finished stitching it, but I didn't FFO it. This is Tiny Saint. This is the thing I did as a fundraiser for Meow Parlor in New York. Um, but this is Baby Corn. It's one of the kittens they had there at Meow Parlor. I think he was originally supposed to be a foster, but the people who were fostering him adopted him. Um, But so yeah, this is, I found a Tiny Saint. It's called Tiny Saint, baby corn. Yeah. So anyway, this stitching, I had finished the stitch some time ago, but I had not FFO'd it, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do a pillow finish or a flat fold finish or whatever. But I saw this at Hobby Lobby, and it's a little big, for the design itself, right? But I think I can, paint or accessorize or whatever around it to make this little. It almost looks like a stained glass window shape. But so yeah, so I might put some corn, or baby corn, or something. I haven't decided yet exactly how I'm gonna decorate it, but I like this shape. So I found this at Hobby Lobby, and it has an easel back, so you can stand it on a shelf or something like that. So yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I have a mat board to mount the stitching on, and then mount it on that board, and paint around it or decorate around it or whatever. So yeah. And the other thing I did, I talked about how I found my Lego kit um, hidden put away in a drawer. I found it 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So these two snowmen, a snow woman, I think, and a snowman, um, are in this kit. And today, while we were doing our video, since I didn't want to do a new start, on camera, fussing around with a new start, I did. I as my while we were doing it, I worked on one of my first of the two little Lego. I think they're ornaments. They're designed as ornaments, so you could hang it like from this little thing here. Okay, so it's yeah. I just followed the instructions and put the little pieces together. So I made this little snowman person. There's little pink cheeks and the carrot nose, little flowers up here in the hat. There's a candy cane there. Yeah, so so I made my first Lego thing, and then there's another this other little snowman. There's a lantern, and he's wearing glasses, and he's got this little hat on and everything. So I have the other pieces in there, so I'm probably going to do that today just for fun. Get that done with. So like I said, the WIPGO numbers for May just came out today, and I went ahead and took a look at that. And so, um, oh, actually, I meant to get this out and I forgot. Let me get it really quickly. One of the WIPGO calls is Millie, which is by Stacy Nash. It's another one of the animal crackers. And I had it right here. Yes, this is it. Sorry, making noise. I meant to, like I said, I meant to grab this before I started filming. I forgot. Millie, I said, right? Yes. Okay, so Millie is elephant. Sorry. Oh, was it flashing the pattern? Sorry about that. So Millie is this elephant here. And last time I worked on it, I think I just did a little bit of the blanket that Millie's wearing. The little, it's not a blanket, but you know what I mean. And I have it here somewhere. Yeah. And this is another one where I'm going to have to really look at it closely. This is what I have done. This little start. And so I don't know if this is the top or if this is the top. I don't know. So I have to look at it more carefully. But yeah, that's one of my May WIPGO pieces. Sorry, let me try to close this thing before I spill all the pieces out everywhere. And then the other one is, so Millie is number 15, and the new start for that is called Nevermind, and this is designed by Lindy Stitches, and it's a play on the Edgar Allan Poe Nevermore, quoth the raven, right? Well, this one is Nevermind, quoth the passive aggressive raven. This is by Lindy Stitches. I don't know if you can see that little picture there, but it's basically a crow and some like candelabras, and there's, yeah. So anyway, that's the passive aggressive raven. This is a pretty simple design. The raven is sort of a block of black stitches, but then the words are very easy to do. The little candelabras are pretty simple, and then there's some little, the flowers. These two little flowers here on the bottom. So it's a pretty simple design. So anyway, that's one of my new starts for, that's number 15. And then number 18 is Lost and Found, which is by Silver Creek Samplers. This one here. The words say, I am a lost sheep, gone astray. Shepherd, find me, this I pray. O shepherd, listen to my prayer and keep me in thy loving care. This is by from 2020, apparently. Yeah, by Diane Grick of Silver Creek Samplers. So last time I worked on this, it's pretty far along. Yeah, I had to do that border on top. I got a lot of awards done, a lot of this branch here. I did a lot of work on the sheep, but it's still kind of a long ways to go. So I dyed this fabric myself. This is I have 28 count Lugana, I think. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it or not, but I may be. It's May. That's number 18, and the new start for that is Moon Gazer. This designed by Heartstring Samplery, Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. Yeah, and I haven't even begun to look for a fabric for that. It's done on this blue fabric, and it has a lot of I think white stitches, and like white individual stitches for the stars. So I think it would be good to have a blue fabric to stitch it on. Just trying to see what fabric it is called for. I think it was stitched on Night Sky by Fiber on a Whim. Is that color? So, and it uses Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works. And I don't know. I don't have them all, I don't think. But I have several of them. But anyway, so if I probably have a good blue fabric that would work in those fabrics that I got from Be Stitch Me. I don't know if they're big enough. I have to check the size, but yeah, so that'd be nice. If I have one that's the right size, it'll work. It'd be great. And if not, I have a lot of blue fabric actually. Just one of my favorite colors, I guess, because that's what I end up gravitating toward. But so yeah, this is one of my new starts for May. And I think that's all I have coming up, I believe. What was that? There was something else I was going to mention. I forget. No, I guess not. Like I said, I'm hoping to. I have to do those 3 new starts still, and then the that I want to stitch on To My Dear Father, and yeah, those are all the ones I need to do, or I want to do before the end of the month, along with my little Lego snowman thing that's left. And it shouldn't take me long. It didn't take me very long to finish the first one, so just this morning. Oh, sorry about that. Um, but yeah, so I think that's all I've got coming up. Those three new, two new WIPGO, uh, ongoing WIPGO and new starts. And yeah, so like I said, for the month of May, I just have a few more days. The 31st is what, Tuesday? I mean, not Tuesday. Tuesday the 28th, 29th, Thursday. Uh, so Thursday is the 31st. So, no, April only has 30 days. That's the September, April, June, and November. Yeah, so there's only 30 days in April. Um, but that is, the 28th is Tuesday. The 29th is Wednesday. The 30th is Thursday. So the 1st of May is, golly, I'm looking, uh, I don't know my days of the week and my numbers, apparently. So anyway, the 1st of May is coming up before Saturday. I need to look right here. Um, so yeah, next Saturday is going to be the 2nd of May. Um, so by next Saturday, I will have started on my on my May stitching, and we'll see what all I was able to accomplish before the end of the month. And actually, by next Saturday, maybe I'll have my new, our shower, our bathroom will be finished. I think I don't know if I mentioned last week that we had what we jokingly referred to as our screaming toilet. Um, the toilet was having there was some the pump was was wearing out. There was, I think it had a lot of like the hard water. We have very hard water out here in Phoenix, and so there was some hard water buildup. But I don't know how old it was already. But so like when you flush the toilet, as the tank refilled, it was like the pump was like kind of what we called screaming, you know, and only it was really pretty loud. It always sounded like, if you were in the other room, it sounded like my cat was crying or something, but it was actually the toilet was, screeching and all that stuff. And, but while I was gone, Eve had the guts to replace it, but she just, hadn't had the time, and she needed, my nephew Robert to help her with the bolts and all that kind of stuff. And but he was at work and stuff like that, so she had put it off, trying to work on it, trying to find a time when he could help her do it. But but at one point she finally was able to have the time to work on it. But she was talking to, I guess, the plumbers, that were working on redoing their drain and stuff like that for the shower. And uh, I think she asked them a question just about, like, should she do this, should she do that, when she went to replace it. And so they gave her some advice, and she replaced it, but it was said there was something wrong with it. And so she talked to when the plumber guy said, "Oh, I'll take a look at it." And she goes, "No, you don't need to do that, because of course that wasn't his job, to work on the toilet. He was there to work on the shower." But he very kindly, took a look at it, fixed, helped her with it, fixed it up, whatever, and so it was fine. So our toilet is fine now, and soon our sink is fine, it's finished, and soon the shower will be finished, hopefully in this coming week. And yeah, we should be by next Saturday. It should all be taken care of. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping that that's the case. Anyway, we were able to get a few things from the storage. Our jewelry making stuff, the beads and wires and all that. We were able to reach that, and a few other things. So little by little, we are making some headway in the getting stuff from the storage unit. So that's the ongoing saga of my life. Um, anyway, so like I said, next Saturday I should have my May projects at least begun, underway, a couple of them at least, and we shall see. I should hopefully also by next week have my three remaining new starts for the month of May. I mean, for the month of April. Um, Started as they're supposed to be in by the end of the month. So anyway, I will see you next week, and until then, thanks for watching. Bye.